Hello viewers, there's a Dark Knight presenting you Fire Emblem video, which is basically what I'm going to do is a Berwick saga tier list. If you're wondering why I'm using a browser capture, because OBS browser isn't exactly working to my needs, not exactly skill enough to use it. We're going to use a capture instead. Anyway, rules for a tier list. Yes, top tier is always the best, and high, mid, low, and complex is basically what I consider. These units are pretty good, but the availability and there are lots of conditions which will put them in, which is a bad criterion at tier list, but a pretty good gameplay wise. So complex. 150 gold is a meme, but other than that, the units aren't necessarily bad. I can use all of them in Berwick Saga. It's just that using some of them is a lot easier than not using them. Yeah, so the rules are basically ease of use and main and side missions. Don't really care about turn counts. LTC videos, so feel free to check them out, I guess. And I'll probably be considering rank run as brownie points. They won't affect the ranking in a huge way, just they help in rank run or banner rank run. I'll just mention that. Anyway, let's move on to the top tier. The units placed within a tier, for example, if Clifford's placed at top and Dean is placed at the last unit, they're necessarily worst. Dean isn't necessarily a worst unit and Clifford isn't necessarily best unit. I'm just placing them for convenience sake. First, according to my damn script. Yeah, I'll keep moving up. Okay, Clifford is obviously in tier. Okay, top tier Clifford. Clifford is one of the best units you can get in a game. He has one of the highest levels in a game, base levels, which means you can use almost any weapon you want him to use. That is which this class will allow him to use, which is swords, spears, small shields, and medium shields. So Clifford is insanely versatile. He has enough years to counter strike if you remove his shields and equip him swords. You can take a few hits with a shield, especially the medium shield and this shield fist skill, which will kind of proc frequently and help his bulk. And he has one of the best bases in spear and sword skills. So 32 in spear, I think at around 20s in the sword, so he's insanely accurate. He also has good gear with a metal sword, killer spear, and a paladin shield, and a very powerful mount with high durability. He can move around, he can kill stuff, he can counter strike. It's a pretty darn versatile unit, and obviously since he's such a versatile unit, and he also has provoked to lower enemies, brownie points to that. And for one of the best units, obviously it's not in the main squad as a freebie unit. You'll have to pay a huge price to hire him, and he doesn't have any happiness requirements to recruit him. So don't want to deploy him in maps where you want to recruit other units. And to recruit him, you need to raise Ruby. Isn't bad, but it'll take a while to raise her to the point where you can recruit Clifford. You'll have to deploy frequently, and you don't particularly need him in a ranked run, though he does help make it a lot reliable. For example, Elbert will pretty much act as a provoke bot and pretty much use almost all the weapons he can use. Ward can pretty much use all his weapons and is a freebie unit. And has similar skill levels but kinda slightly lower. Can't come in side missions, but don't particularly Clifford in early game side missions anyways. Like, it's insanely good, but it's expensive and it's probably overkill if you're in the early game, I guess. You can start hiring him around chapter 5 where it'll be useful, and you'll have some gain over hiring him. I mean, it's pretty good, just hiring him is not a good choice until you can recruit him. And recruit him is insanely easy if you use Ruby though, so once you get him as a freebie, yes, you might want to use him. You definitely want to use him once you recruit him, but using him before recruiting him is going to be a bit hard because of funds. That's really it about Clifford, and the next unit is another expensive unit. Yeah, it's not in mid, obviously, just scrolling on is a pain. So Volon is available as early as the side mission of chapter 1, so his availability is virtually perfect barring the first mission, main mission. So the issue I'll go as boons first. Volon is deathmatch, adept, and Iado, so and is insanely fast. And you don't double in Berwick Saga, but Adept pretty much comes close to it as an unreliable option and when enemy attacks you, and Deathmatch is pretty much a guaranteed kill for the most part, a right weapon, but it does put Volon at risk of dying if you don't give him a miracle charm later on. Volon is basically prefer, I guess, in a way. He doesn't have shields, but he can equip braces to boost his hit rates, strength, stats. So he won't have accuracy issues per se, but you don't particularly want to give him kills early on because like he has a decently high level. You don't want to give him kills, and killing with him is kind of tempting because plunder kind of helps get some minor cash, but it doesn't make a huge difference. So recruiting Volon like Clifford is a huge pain in the ass because not only is he expensive, you want to use early units early on because you want to give him experience, which is kind of low. Rare in Berwick saga. Deathmatch isn't that useful, while killing reliably is really good thing in Berwick saga. Just in case you want to capture some bounties and all, which is where you'll actually need deathmatch to kill reliably. Or bosses. Volon doesn't perform quite up to the mark unless, of course, they don't have a shield. They don't have a shield, so he'll be insanely useful in chapter 4 where deathmatch will reliably kill some bulky fighters. Mercenaries with deathmatch. Again, Volon's insanely good, does his job very well. It's just that if you're playing a ranked run or you want to give experience to the units, it's just the way the game works, it's going to hold him back, and it's pretty hard to recruit with. He has two ways to recruit him. One is a typical dual happiness, which you can do by hiring him in missions, deploying him, and feeding him food. You can also give him, well, levels, but since he has a high level of 13, that isn't likely going to occur to a point when it becomes a difference. So if you want to recruit Volon SAP, I recommend giving him food. Just take a guide in serenesforest, and you'll probably want to start at least C rank first, since that's the point where it'll make a difference. So you get 0.5 with Volon's favorite food, and in case you don't get anything which Volon likes, you want to give him the cheapest C rank food, which is neutral. So basically Volon shouldn't dislike it. You kinda recruit him eventually as you keep hiring him, and you don't have to deploy him, but deploying him does speed up his recruitment. Volon is insanely expensive, hard to recruit, and he'll be good if once you recruit him. His bulk won't be great, but a miracle charm will help if you want to actually use a deathmatch. You can also counter slice because he has more than 11 AS. It helps. Overall, it's pretty. And swords are a hugely contested weapon early on with all his knights, myrmidons, mercenaries, and all. So, Volon probably won't have a decent sword use too, so that's something to consider. The second alternative meta to recruit Volon is by killing Chaos, is essentially an endgame boss. You can do it semi-reliably with Dean and his vengeance skill. However, it's really RNG reliant and very tedious, and it'll take really hours to kill Chaos successfully, even if you manage to do it. The second method is deploy Fae and get a cripple and capture in chapter 3, but she'll waste a unit slot and it's not worth it. Well, she'll get happy, but you'll be deploying her and happiness requirement be satisfied anyway. But if you do manage to kill Chaos, Volon's happiness requirement will be reduced to 5, but he'll be recruitable at chapter 9 if you choose this requirement. The only benefit of this is that you don't have to deploy Volon anymore if you deployed him in the first few chapters and satisfy his happiness requirement. So it'll save funds in the long run if you're planning for a ranked run, but honestly, if you're capturing bounties, capturing bosses, you probably have enough money anyway, so yeah, it's tedious, not worth the trouble, but you do get an interesting cutscene, so you want to view it for completion at sake. And if you don't find a video online, I guess you can do it. And onward to the next unit. Next unit is going to be Sherpa. Sherpa is at the top tier. It's pretty expensive to hire, but honestly, his recruiting requirements are pretty darn easy. Just hire him in one mission and just deploy him, and you'll satisfy his one happiness requirement. So, and once you do it, chapter 8 in main mission will just automatically be a force deployed unit, and just do the recruitment event, and it'll pretty much be a freebie after chapter 8. So beyond that, Sherpa's pretty amazing given its first impression. It's pretty much a badass, like pretty much rescue some mage solo from enemies in Berwick saga where Dukes and Kings keep falling. So gameplay thing, yes, robust, which means can't be crippled. It's not a huge issue, you can just reset if you get crippled. It's just that not getting crippled will just let you use them a lot more reliably. He has the highest sword skill, which even surpasses. It's around 30 plus, so pretty much all his hit with the swords. So you don't have to worry about accuracy issues. Pretty much counter slice because he has more than 11 years. So and his counter, which means pretty much all his retaliate on enemy phase, which doesn't occur in Berwick saga. To top it all off, he also has can also equip braces to boost his traits, which are already sky high, but just in case you need reliability a bit more, you can use them, I guess. Specifically a tiger brace or a Pegasus brace or feather brace, I guess. Pegasus or feather brace, whichever it is, gives us plus 5 hit, and the tiger brace gives us plus 10 hit, but at a cost of minus 10 avoid, which Sherpa has lots of avoid anyways, so it's not a huge penalty. Beyond all that, it comes with a personal weapon, which is a Brimranger, which he hits thrice at the price of some reduced avoid. It's a rare weapon and it's one of the best weapons we can get, so it's pretty much has a cost twice with it, and doubling or hitting more at once without a skill or a good weapon. I mean, you can't really do it without that. You need a skill or good weapon to double, but not doubling is not a huge issue anyway, so Sherpa can reliably kill out a Brimranger, but want to be careful in using it because it doesn't have deathmatch like Volon or any other skill that let him double. It's basically this huge semi-bulky enemy on it. Enemy phase you only can use reliably. And on his player face, speaking of it, if he doesn't move around, he can use a wind sweep skill. Yeah, I want to put a Kaga at first choke. She also wind sweep is a lot better because at least you can use it after moving. It's a pretty good skill, but it has a huge price of not restricting his movement if you want to use him. But if you do decide to use it, he doesn't take attack on his turn, so that kind of helps. And as a utility purposes, he has the guard skill which only Ward gets. Not only Ward, even Marshal gets it, but it's kind of helpful in protecting a relay unit if you want to use it. Just don't want to use it with Sherpa because he doesn't have a bulk to take a lot of hits, but in a pinch, it's going to be pretty helpful. Okay, in short, Sherpa is reliable, can kill stuff, can take hits, easy recruitment, kind of expensive hiring, but you don't have to hire him anyway. Can't be crippled, which very few units have. Not a huge issue, just something I want to point out. You don't have to feed him food direct. Yeah, easy recruitment, it comes in food. Overall, it's pretty reliable and easy unit to use, so I mean, you'll be doing a huge mistake if you don't recruit him. That's all I'm saying. On to the next unit, which is Lorena, I guess. Yeah, Lorena. She has average bases, but what separates her from the rest of these titans here is that she can fly around, and a mount essentially has infinite durability, so you'll always want to keep her mounted. Enemies can't attack at 0 range, which is basically the melee range since she's flying for the most parts. I mean, obviously if you decide to attack, they can counter attack. Generally, I'll just avoid Lorena. Flying is a huge boon since she's only flyer and she can grow across inaccessible terrain and trees. She comes with not a personal lance, but it's technically a personal lance because it'll probably break it before a recruiter if you're not using it. Keep using it. It's a Utrapo which has extra magical damage along with its spear's charge skill, so charge properties, so she's doing huge damage with it, and she has kinda okay spear skills, so she'll be pretty accurate with spear. Other than spear though, she'll be a bit inaccurate, but small shields are kinda okay, and I guess they don't help her take a lot of hits, but expensive ones are pretty darn good. Like there's a one which blocks arrows, which you'll probably want to buy for her to make her move around and to reach side objectives. And thing on an infinite durability mount is you don't have to pay for money, you don't have to pay for mounts which cost at least 1k to keep hiring and repairing. I mean, you can replenish mount self with the right word, but that's kind of random, and Pristine can only recover 1 mount at a time, so. And in fact, Canto plus for the most part is pretty insane. Just slightly lower move to compensate, but honestly who cares when you can move around a map freely. And she also gets wind sweep, unlike Sherpa, which is pretty easy to use because I'll want to use it as much as I can anyway if you can position Lorena right, because she can really move around on Canto plus, and the way Canto works is you don't take damage and the enemy attacks you. You can use the remaining move to move around. Wind sweep really helps with Lorena. Again, her recruiting requirement is pretty easy. You just need to get a game. Obviously you can get it a bit quicker if you play well and get racist tactics up to 18, in which case it'll promote quicker than chapter 10. It doesn't have any happiness requirements. All that you need is reasoning to promotes. You pretty much get her guaranteed by chapter 10. So you don't have to deploy her in maps you don't need her. She'll still be useful because there'll be some side objectives in which she'll be the only one who can move around. Besides, she's one of the few who can move in water besides Axel, and you'll want that utility. You'll want to give her experience anyways. Just bring her in maps where you need to use her, and that's pretty much it. It's pretty darn good. She's only her can fly. She has a good spear. She has an infinite durability mount, and she joins her in the main mission of chapter 4, but it's kind of like early game, so she has most of the availability anyway. It's pretty good, just use her when you can. The next unit is Dean. This guy's insane. If it weren't for the 60 kill requirement, which will kinda hamper some units XP, he'll be the best offensive unit besides Volon. That's Desperation, yes, Vengeance, which is basically a proc-based higher damage counter attack, and his huge thing is he has access, no pun intended. He has access to he has claim to access which very few units use. He won't be limited in weapons unlike Volo. Our accesses are inaccurate. Probably want to give him a Feather Brace, Pegasus Brace, whichever brace boosts his hit rate, and a Tiger Brace you can, which is a bit risky since Dean doesn't have exactly the best bulk, but anything that boosts his hit rates really helps. And he also comes with a risky skill called Desperations. Normally at first glance it just boosts hit rate. What a game doesn't tell you is if Dean has 5 or more AS, which he'll mostly have unless it's a sword unit, it's pretty much guaranteed a double, so that'll help him reliably kill units at the expense of taking a hit. So it's a risky maneuver, but it really helps him kill units reliably, and this is what puts him in top tier compared to other axe units. It's a reliable 0 KO if you can kill. Of course it's risky, but it helps. And its recruitment mercenary plus is pretty decent, so it's not even expensive like Volo. Only reason I'll call Dean, this is recruitment requirement, which kind of goes against the game mechanics. You want to recruit other units, so basically you'll need to kill 60 units to recruit him and keep his own alive. I mean, unless you're doing Iron Man, you'll probably keep her alive anyway, since she's the only free healer you get for most of the game anyways. You'll want to keep, it's a pretty easy recruitment. Just 60 kills means he won't be recruited immediately. Probably be recruited on mid game or late game. He does his job pretty well. It's just that the gameplay mechanics hold him back like Volo does. Next is Sherlock Holmes. That's a joke. Sherlock the cowboy. I mean, that's the first impression I got from him anyway. I mean, Sherlock is a pretty bad start with shaky hit rates and bows, but he doesn't really take a counter attack for the most part, so I mean, there's no risk with not attacking him with him. You also can go on a mount, which means you can do hit and run tactics. His best part is, unlike all these 5 units which you need to pay money to recruit them, they're instantly good. It's just putting a brownie point. Sherlock is a freebie unit, so perfect availability. He has a skill called Double Shot and 1-2, so they're basically cooldown skills. So Double Shot activates once in 4 turns, and 1-2 activates around once in 5 or 6 turns. So that's going to, so basically with these skills you can essentially hit twice if you time them right. Of course his hit rates are a bit shaky initially until you get the sniper arrows, which means his hit rate will be pretty sky high, yeah. Like his early game hit rates are a bit shaky, and his promotion level is kinda high at 15, but that just means he's gonna promote late. It's not a huge issue. And he doesn't have expertise, which means he'll probably use some bows a bit later than say Sylvester, who has expertise. You can use level 10 bows at base, and Farmer, who has level 10 at base, so you can use level 10 bows instantly. He'll initially be locked out of some bows, but honestly just give him a level and can use level 2 and he'll use most bows pretty much fine. And he gets Overwatch at level 6, which is kinda nice considering he's a board and he can't counter attack and then main initiates attack. And on promotion he gets a pretty good mount, so just make sure he doesn't have a mount before you promote him. Just swap it at Christine or whatever, and yeah, you'll be fine. You get a free mount, which is insanely good. Gives him +1 move, has high durability, and bows are pretty much one of the best weapons in Berwick saga, so high accuracy with the arrows and all. You get a right arrow. Magic bows, which kind of go well with his double shots, so reliably kill the right enemy if you exploit the weaknesses. For example, a Wyvern has a fire weakness. You can just equip the Apiron, I guess, which gives him +1 magic. Equip a fire bow, double shot, and 1-2. Pretty much deal at least 30 damage or something. the right weaknesses. Insanely good. His cooldown skills are a bit. You need to time them right to activate at the best potential, but honestly, you can pretty much Kanto for the most part since unless he attacks a bow unit, in which case he'll probably face a counter, he'll miss and get a counter attack on his face. But he can freely move around, he can ship, he can kill if you time it right. And the best part is that it's a freebies, gets good stuff from promotion. And did I mention triple shot, which is an upgrade version of double shot? So once it promotes, it gets triple shots, which means you can pretty much hit 4 times if you time his skills right. Pretty insanely good. Just use him whenever you can and you won't be disappointed. That's some investment, but so does Dean for recruiting him, so does Volon for hiring him. It's not a huge issue. And now I'll just give me a moment. I want to check how much time's gone. Okay, that's been a rant. We'll be going in a second part in the next video. And I love this game. Kinda hate the gameplay sometimes. Kinda wanna hate it, rage quit sometimes. But love the story. So look forward to more Berwick Saga. Yeah, see you.